afternoon, everybody. Am I in a room that's full of people? Then good afternoon, everybody. That seems to be indeed a good afternoon. All right, then. So right here, warm welcome to you all at, of course, IHS Trithya 2024, and we are at Innovate Talks. You are the fortunate few who are present here, wanting to make the best of this afternoon. We've been listening to quite a few stories, and I think you've been listening to stories as children as well. At that time, we were told stories that gave us morals. Those morals helped us build ourselves today. Here we are listening to stories which give us much more than morals. And let's see what you're taking home today from this lovely story that's going to be told. A story about how a legacy can be built, and we're going to hear it from the horse's mouth. It's indeed an honor to have in our midst a well-known personality in the world of gem and jewelry, across India and, of course, internationally. He is often invited to various places to discuss strategy, policy, and this also with the government and at the center. With enriched experience, which is often sought along with his innovative ideas, he travels extensively for business and service. If you talk of his achievements, probably I can go on and on. But I'd certainly like to mention, of course, we're talking about the past chairman and All India Gem and Jewelry Domestic Council, the member of the World Diamond Council, member of International Colored Gemstone Association. When I'm going to count his awards, I could go on and on counting, but it's an honor to mention two most important: the Lifetime Achievement Award of the retail sector in the year 2016 and the Lifetime Achievement Award for Gem and Jewelry Industry. I think you know the name because it's right there up and you can read it clear, but my honor to take it. And yes, let's hear it for the Managing Director and Director, C. Krishnan Chetty Jewelers, Dr. C. Vinod Ayagrav. Ladies and gentlemen. Sir, stage is all yours. Start with sir. Yeah, let's start with sir. Yes, yes, yes. All yours, sir.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, and Neerav ji, Shamal ji, and Mr. Prida, who's here, and all of us here, a topic which is not something that I created, meaning the business was, none of us create a business that lasts so long. Quite often, we see many organizations, as they say, in 1947, at the time the independence of India was gained, whatever the number of companies which were there in this country, to now, less than 10% exist, which means that most organizations list themselves to be existing between 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years. Rarely do they go 40 and 50, rarely do they go 75, rarely do they go over 100 years. Although, I would not hesitate to say, there have also been some organizations that have lost its prominence because of India's partition as well. So some of them who were in the Pakistan area who have probably migrated to India at the time the independence happened, several of them have lost all their earnings and all their legacy and all their business, and they came into India, as you all know. With an organization that needs to be authentically looking at lasting 155 years now this year, often I've been asked, what makes it happen? Why does something, or what does it take to last so long? One simple answer is it's pure destiny. Why does it happen? Pure destiny. Number two, is the resilience of the people who ran the business. In a country like India, where when we started off 1869, the founder Krishnaya Chetty, who is my great-great-grandfather, was on a bicycle before 1869 selling colored beads. Therefore, even today, color is something that we are very close to. So if you see the merchandise that is on our showrooms, you would not just see diamonds and gold, but you also will see a lot of color. Color is something that we are very fond of. And fortunately, in the last few years, in the last 20, 30 years, gemstones from around the world have been able to be imported into India. And India itself produces a large number of colored stones. So the founder of the company began by selling colored stones on a bicycle. And then slowly he put up his own store, which was in 1869, which is on the bylanes of a street called Commercial Street in Bangalore. This street, the bylane was a few people who were running their business, but most of them were what you call homes. The British settled down in the cantonment region of Bangalore because the Maharaja of Mysore gave about 1,500 acres of land to the British to establish their cantonment and the army. This particular army was stationed there as a protection to the Maharaja of Mysore. Mysore, if you go to the history, it goes back about 700 years of ruling of the Wadiyar family. And then Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan and Hyder Ali came in, displacing the Maharaja of Mysore, because Maharaja of Mysore wanted a good commander-in-chief. He appointed Tipu Sultan, and Tipu Sultan was succeeded by Hyder Ali. And finally, they took charge of the kingdom from the Wadiyars. And the Wadiyars came back after Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan were defeated in the battle in 1799. So therefore, from there onwards, the Wadiyars came back, and the Wadiyars gave this land, a parcel of land of 1,500 acres. And in that area, the British established themselves. Bangalore has been a very salubrious weather, as you all know. It's been a very laid back, very stable township. The actual Bangalore was outside, about 4 kilometers outside of the cantonment. So that was known as the Peta. A Peta was where the city of Bangalore used to be, where all the economic activity and the business and other things ran. The cantonment was a purely British settlement, and there were gates between the Peta and the cantonment, so people would not be able to come into the cantonment easily because it was a British garrison. What the British did was, when they developed this land, they also made it a self-contained city, a township, which had residences. So therefore, you have something called, even today, Residency Road. Then they established their infantry, so it's called the Infantry Road even till today. They established the cavalry, so that was still, even today, is known as the Cavalry Road. And there was one particular place where they had the main guards of the city, of the army, and even today it's called the Main Guard Crossroad. So this whole city is named after the British army settlements. While they did that, they laid out the beautiful roads, because it was barren land at that time in the 1800, early 1800. They laid out very good roads, so much so that they had a little street that they called a shopping street for all the British officers. That shopping street, very simply the British called it a commercial street. So as simple as that, commercial street. All the others were houses and garrisons and barracks of the British army. My great-great-grandfather thought at that point of time, here is a new opportunity. Like we all say, Navi Mumbai happens. So therefore, my great-great-grandfather, Krishna Chetty, said, there appears to be something happening, the British are establishing, I'll go there and set up my life. So he left his family and came to the British cantonment, and he began to sell these beads, and then set up his shop, which I will come to very shortly. The business at that point of time had only one street to do business, nothing else. His customers were the British Army, the officers of England. None of them came here to wage war. Most of them preferred Bangalore as the ideal transfer. In the war-torn other parts of the world, they said Bangalore will be the no-war zone, because the Maharaja of Mysore was a very peace-loving Maharaja. Even today, if you go to the palaces, not even one bullet hole you will find in the Bangalore palace or the Mysore palace. The Mysore palace got burnt down in a fire. It used to be a wooden structure, a completely wooden palace, and it got burnt down in one of the Dasara festivities. Otherwise, there was no other war in this area except Tipu Sultan and the Hyder Ali time with the British. So therefore, peace-loving, the British officers would come and buy stuff from my great-great-grandfather, and then his son, who is Adi Narayan Chetty. What these people did was, just because they had the British with them, they would evolve their design according to the British taste. There was not really so much of an Indian taste in those days. By and large, it was a British settlement. The customers were British. So knowing your customer, you develop a design base based upon the British tastes. Therefore, whatever we have today, the archives of the company, which fortunately are forefathers. I am part of the fifth, and the sixth generation is working today. The fourth generation, fifth generation, and the sixth generation work together today in the company. So therefore, when this father and son duo, Krishna Chetty and his son Adinaran Chetty, were very focused on their business. Today, even today, when I look back, I feel what we are doing today is not a patch on what they did. With their British connections, they created products which were really of standard of London. Now, the British officers would come to my great-grandfather and tell him, I'm looking for something like this. They were here for 3 to 5 years on deputation. So therefore, he would make some items. We had made silver, we had made gold, and from 1880, diamonds started. Before 1880, we did not have diamonds. The first record of a diamond sale in the company is 1880. Therefore, these products became what he created. At one point of time, he had 70 craftsmen in the premises, it was a shop house, which means there was a shop in the front and a house at the back. A typical Indian way, where it used to be known as shop houses. These shop houses at one time had 70 craftsmen. Those craftsmen were goldsmiths, silversmiths, people who would set a diamond, set a gemstone. There would be wood carvers, because wood was required in that time. We used to have ivory, so ivory carvers were there. We used to use ebony wood, which was used for certain handles and things for silverware, so we had ebony carvers. And all of them would have to be put into a box, so the box would also be made in-house. So it used to be a wooden box, and it would be made to the size or the shape of the piece of jewelry, and the piece of jewelry would go into that box, and they would go and print it on a satin back, and they deliver it to the customer. So everything from end to end would be done by these 70 craftsmen. What were the equipment? Simple tools, files. I remember when I came in 1975 for the first time, in June of 75, we had a very senior craftsman. In fact, all my teachers are craftsmen or older staff of the company. They would always, I remember people who would not show me everything, because they said in Tamil, they would, how many of you will understand? I think a lot of you would understand Tamil. They said, இந்த பையன் என்ன வேலை பண்ணுவான். Meaning, he was not even sure that I would continue in work because I came from a convent education, one of the finest schools in Bangalore, Bishop Cotton, English-speaking fellow. So they said, we don't know whether he will come and join the business, etc. They would never, they had a very secretive way of working. Even if they had to show me what the tools they were working with, they would not show me for at least 3 months, 6 months. They will not open the cupboard and show me. But finally, I would insist, and then I kind of learned. So these 70 people were, one good thing that I felt with all of them, and personally, because when I came in 75, there were people who were working with the firm for 40 years, 30 years. So that means I am talking about 45 years, 43, 44 years I am working, and then before that, another 40 years. So you're talking about an 80-year kind of a back, we are going back. So these craftsmen would tell me, there is nothing that we cannot do. We can do anything, you wish for it and we can do it. So a goldsmith will do a silver work and a silver work will be done by a goldsmith, and somebody who does smithing will also do carpentry. And a carpentry person will also do designing. A designer will also do engraving. Engraving will also do goldsmithing. I mean, they were all cross-functional teams because if the company needed it, they would do it. And that was at one point of time in 1955, I remember my father telling me when my grandfather passed away in 1954, and my great-grandfather also passed away within that 12 months. So 2 deaths in the family within 1 year time. So my father and my uncle, 2 brothers, came into the business in 1954-55. At that point of time, they had to manage these craftsmen. And they were very difficult craftsmen. My father tells me they were very, very difficult. They were rebellious. They were very egoistic. They had to, at one point of time, even a knife was shown to my dad saying that for something, threatening him that he would have to do what they tell him to do. He was all of 18 years and my uncle was only 14 years. They both got into the business because there was no option. My father gave up, he did his Cambridge education in Bangalore, the Cambridge exams, then finished his pre-university or 12th standard, and then he had to jump into the business. So the craftsmen were very, very tough people, but they were very good at their work, but they were very mind strong. So he had to handle all of them. So such were the people. In fact, some of the craftsmen were actually wrestlers. They were in the free time, they were wrestlers. I know some of them who were huge people. They could bend gold with their hands. Such is the kind of people that worked in this organization. Over a period of time between 1880 to about 1950 was a golden period of the business. What happened during that period was there were 3 generations who were working. Krishnaya Chetty and his son Adinarayan Chetty and his son Venkatachalapati Chetty. These 3 people, and they were also, the second generation had 2 twin brothers as well. They were Ram and Lakshman. They're twins, so they were called Ramai Chetty and Lakshmai Chetty. So it was very interesting history if you go back, that at one point of time, one of the brothers of the second generation borrowed 7,500 rupees from a Sindhi moneylender on the commercial street. 7,500 in 1915 or 1918. By 1929, that amount grew to 75,000 rupees. At 75,000 rupees, they couldn't pay back that money. So they had pledged one of the properties, which is the commercial street property, which is the oldest property we have. They pledged it to the Sindhi moneylender. And the money lender in 1929 said, I'm going to buy it out from you. If you can't pay me 75,000, I'll take the property. So the property was probably a little more valuable. So what he did was, the Sindhi money lender went to court. In a court auction, on site, the court made an auction. And it's very interesting to know that some of the finest families of Bangalore participated in the auction. They participated for one reason, because the second generation and third generation were very, very good with their customers. So much so that these are the iconic families even today of Bangalore. One of them is the Prestige Estates, the Prestige Builders, who are today huge enterprise. Another one is an automotive giant in Bangalore, in South India. And another one is an education institution. And another family runs malls today. Now, all of them, four of them came and told my great-grandfather, you are going to have a public auction, therefore somebody can buy out your property. Therefore, we will be there just to give you support. If anybody bids higher than you, we will buy it out together and give it back to you. So it was a relationship sometimes that I see that makes an organization. These are real stories, real facts that I'm telling you. It is this kind of what you call a very close relationship between the owners of the family, of the business, that lasts the business beyond 150 years like this. And over that, between 1880 and 1950, we had about 21 different kingdoms who were clients of ours. So we were appointed the official jewelers to the Maharaja of Mysore, and that family still is with us. The Wadiyar family is still with us even today. In fact, sometimes we use them to, inspired collections that we bought. We recently just launched a new collection with the Wadiyar family. I think Mansukh did a couple of pieces for us under that collection. So therefore, other than the Wadiyar family, we made fabulous items for the Nizam of Hyderabad. We did for the Maharaja of Gondal in Gujarat. We did work for the Gaikwads of Baroda. We did work for the Travancore Maharaja in Kerala. Then we did work for the Maharaja of Drangadra, for the Nawab of Savanur, which is a state within the Karnataka state today. And we also did work for the Maharaja of Sandur. And like this, we had the Raja of Pudukottai in Tamil Nadu, then the Ramnad, the Maharaja of Ramnad, and so on. There were 21 different kingdoms were clients of ours. It was a great experience. At one point of time, we even imported products from Mappin and Webb in London, from the Silversmiths and Goldsmiths Company of London. And we also had Rolex making watches for Krishnaya Chetty. Very interestingly, Rolex made the watches for Krishnaya Chetty with diamond dials around. And they put Rolex at the bottom of the dial and Krishnaya Chetty on top of the dial. Okay. So today, if I go and ask Rolex to say, can you put Krishnaya Chetty name on it, they'll say, go fly a kite. But in those days, the respect was so good that they put Rolex at the bottom of the dial and the top was Krishnaya Chetty. And we still have products which are in the museum. We have those watches still available with us. The original set of beads that we started with is still unsold stock. It's still available. One of the things that I think is that most often is the record maintenance. So if you want to last so long, you need to maintain records of your transactions. For a great reason, maybe the British influence on the forefathers of the business, they all maintained records. So today also I have thousands of pieces of documents which are there, which what we did in the past. Diaries were maintained by my grandfather and great-grandfather. So it is very interesting to even read them. Of course, some of the paper is extremely brittle. I have 1880 records which are, you turn the page, it will crumble. So it's all put into a very safe place, airtight place where nobody handles it except one person will handle it. Even today, we are every day, every month or a week or a year, we take out things that we are doing today and it goes into what is known as the archives of the company. So we have a separate group of people who are doing only archival systems, which means their job is, if we make something very nice even today, one document will go into that archives. Whether it is a financial document, whether it's a property document, whether it is a design document, anything, marketing document, HR document, we have record of all the people who have worked in the company. So therefore, we will have their names put up on the walls. So that, it kind of brings about something very personal. The jewelry business is not something that is only profit and loss and balance sheet, but it is also people. So we have all of these people's names on the walls of the company. So everybody can go and see their name. Even today, as people are working, we will put their names. Every year, we go on adding their names. So we put them from 1869 to whatever records we have. Maybe we don't have everybody's names, but whatever names we have, we will put them in. We've got photographs of the old craftsmen and all that, we put them also. So, and then we have digital screens where you can flip through and see what was the history of the company. So these are the things that make it very interesting over a period of time. And one most important thing is maintenance of records. That is the singular purpose of having historical document. We finally, what we did was in the recent past, we've also come out with a book on the Krishnaya Chetty heritage. And we have that, it's about 290 pages. Authored by a very, very famous lady by the name of Usha Balakrishnan, Dr. Usha Balakrishnan, all of you know. She's the authority on Indian culture. She's a PhD in Indian history and jewelry. So in 2000, she came to Bangalore and she said, Vinod, you need to document your history before it's too late. And therefore I said, yes, let's do it. So she embarked on it. She reviewed all the material and she finally wrote 180 pages. And then what happened was, I am one of those people who have to read every paragraph, every sentence, every full stop and capital and lower case, everything. So that took away a lot of my time. I could not finish the review of the book. And then my time of business and other things became very busy. Finally, we finished it in 2022. So 2000 to 22, unfortunately, 22 years we took to finish that book. That book is available on Amazon.com at 6,500 rupees and Amazon.com at 160 US dollars and Amazon.com .in at 6,500, and of course on ckcjewelers.com it's available at the same 6,500. And as of now, I think we've printed about 5,500 copies, and it's been with all different people across the country. It documents the history. I have a small 30-second video on that book. If you could play that video, it's only 30 seconds. It'll give you a history of the book, and it chronicles the history of the company and the business. Thank you. This book, even gives you the picture of Princess Nilüfer, who is the Princess of Turkey, who was our client. She was one of the most beautiful women of the times. And she was, every prince of Europe wanted to get married to her. Ultimately, she got married to the Nizam of Hyderabad, the second son of the Nizam of Hyderabad. And we were asked to create the welcome gift for Nilüfer. And when she came in, it was a gala affair. Hyderabad was lit up. Hyderabad became something fantastic. And it was a welcome to her. And she, by the way, of course, much later, she divorced and she's somewhere else in the world. And if you remember the Mir Usman Ali Khan, who passed away about 6 months ago, he went back to the Caliph's in Turkey's palace, and he passed away there just a few months ago. So the history continues. The Nizam's family continue to shop with us till today. All of those kings and queens and descendants, all of them remain our clients even till today. I think we should. I open to Neeravji for. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Neerav bhai, please join us.
So there's Vinod bhai, the legend himself. Uh, Thank you for being here, Vinod Bhai. Uh, I know you for over 20 years now. One of the most polished, dignified, true gentleman I have seen in this industry. And it's really always a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I knew you were a very meticulous person, but the way you explained the entire archiving and the history maintenance, it really shows the passion and the pride that you have in this legacy that has been built by your great great grandfather. But it is in the right hands, and the way you are continuing it's just amazing. So I think if anybody is looking to build a legacy, it's all this that goes into making that history. So it was amazing. Also, the history on Bangalore, I think even most of the people in Bangalore also will not be knowing it. But the way you were throwing the dates, right from 1860 to date, it's just, I think you are so passionate. It was like you had every single date in your head. So how do you do this? Like,
Niravji, I am a ferocious reader. So I read a very large amount of information. I read books, and I have a affinity to history, the history of India, and I also follow some of the history of other countries and generally history. That probably brings about a certain, feeling for what happened in the world. I go back and say, why did Krishna Chetty come, do all of these beautiful things? And some of the things that we've made have got auctioned in London, in New York, in America, in Paris. We exhibited in the Paris exposition in 1931. We exhibited in the Lahore exposition in 1910 or 1909. Now, what made this? I mean, I wonder, there was no aircraft to move from India to Lahore or London and all that, Paris. How did these people go? I mean, this my great-grandfather and grandfather and all of, with very limited means. See, my grandfather also designed the stamp for the first airmail service between Lahore and London. The British had a competition to design a stamp. And my grandfather designed the stamp. He was one of the 73 entries. Ultimately, he didn't win the stamp final design, but his name is in the London India House. So, how did they do it is something, I think between 1800 and 1900, or even 1940, not only India, but many countries in the world have discovered so many beautiful things. I think there's something happened for the whole world during that period. And these people also just, went through that wave.
amazing vision, but to
Yes.
be there. So, pardon me if I'm a little candid, but today we want to know Vinod Bhai the person and not Vinod Bhai CKC. So, we all know that there is a very challenging situation going around in the company. But I always meet you and I see a very calm, very dignified, very composed person. So, we all want to know how you are able to maintain this dignified composure. It never comes out otherwise. I think it's so stressful and the way it's going. So what is it that really you are be able to behave like this?
Maybe three things. Number one, if you've led a very straightforward life, you have nothing to fear. Yeah, if you led something ethical, straightforward, open, transparent life, there's nothing in my life that I have a hiding of. Okay. The second part is, I think she's not here, but my wife. She has a phenomenal resilience. She's been through a great deal of tribulations and difficulties. My parents and we live together. Of course, they live in the ground floor and I live in the upper floor. My two children live 5 minutes away, close by, but they're independent. They're both married and they have two children. My wife manages my parents, which are in-laws, and my parents are very difficult. Okay, nicely difficult, because they're also very hard nosed and very tough mind. not easy to appreciate. They will not appreciate me easily. So I have to persevere to show that I am worthy of some recognition. And so therefore she manages my parents. And I am a difficult person too. I mean, I very, very particular about everything. You know, a very perfectionist type, which is not very good. But it is necessary in life, I think. That's how I am built. So she manages me, but she's able to balance it. Then my two children are very, very different. Both are internationally educated, one from Babson in Boston and one from Colorado. Both are GIA graduates, very well entrenched in the work that they do. But each one is very different. No, the two boys are very opposites. So therefore, if my wife has to manage all this and still keep it, sane, I think I owe it to her. Then another important thing is my dad has been a very confident person. So even in the most horrible things I've done in my life, I would go and confide with him. Even from standard 6 or standard 10, I would go and tell him, see, I did this. He said, what? How can you do this? But then he will then say, okay, hold on, let me help you. And he would have a lot of conversations with me. He transferred a lot of morals and values in me. I mean, some of my team members are here and they know how difficult he is. But he has a certain objective in life, so he transferred. So all of these probably made me what I am, to smile all the time.
Lovely, and giving credit to your parents and your wife. So, which son studied from Babson? Because my son here also studied from Babson. So I think he should Chaitanya.
Shreyas.
Shreyas. So I think one time he should meet him.
2000, he graduated in 2007, I think.
No, so it was way ahead before. He just graduated 2 years back.
All right, yeah.
Anyway, so we know the saying is true, that behind every successful man there is a woman, and there is your mother and your wife. But what is being successful? What does that mean to you?
In the situation of the organization or the business, I think we are custodians of that heritage. You know, very few, I mean, let's look at all over the world, how many companies are having a rich, blemishless reputation of 155 years. Very few. Therefore, I think we have a role to play in preserving it. And I think I am still a bottle of champagne. We haven't uncorked that champagne in Krishna Chetty yet. I wish at some point I will uncork it. And that will be a bubbly of all different kinds.
Lovely. So we know that you are a man of great taste and you enjoy all the finer things in life. You play golf also a lot. So apart from gold and diamonds and jewelry and color stone, what are your hobbies? What do you do other than when you're not working? You are a very passionate worker, working very hard all the time. But other than that, what do you, Vinod Bhai, as a person, enjoy in life?
I have some wonderful friends from school days. None of my friends we have lost. I mean, whoever passed away, some of them have passed away. But all of them are still in connection with each other. So it kind of gives me a very nice fraternity. Other than that, other than the business part, I play golf. I've been playing for 43 years, so I'm fairly okay in that. I've got probably about...
Very modest you are.
No,
I know that you are a good golfer.
I like to win some trophies here and there. So as of now, I've got about 30 trophies.
That's what I said. That is just okay.
No, yeah, because I've not won it in the last 10 years, but I won it before that. So my game has deteriorated, so I have to pull it back up. Other than that, I drive a lot. I collect a few vintage cars. So we drive sometimes 500 kilometers, 1,000, 2,000 kilometers in the vintage cars.
This I didn't know.
Yeah, so the oldest one is a 1917 Model T.
Oh, wow.
All of them work perfectly.
For sure, because the way you are so meticulous about everything, I'm sure that you are even making sure that everything that is old, vintage and has history is taken care of.
And they're all in meticulous condition. We can start it very quickly, but difficult to drive some of them in the city of Bangalore. But we drive it early morning or some Sundays and things like that. Or we take them out of the city and travel out with a group of vintage car collectors. So we are about 20, 30 of us, we drive.
So one day, can we have some of these things just as a museum we make in the show, and you can get the Rolex with CKC on top and these things, because we don't, this is something we all don't know, and it is such a feeling of pride for all Indians. So some of these pieces, is it possible to just bring it out of your museum and showcase it in the...
Maybe in
things that can be protected.
Yeah, we can. I mean, we can bring it into a small space for people to
just
see it.
That,
yes, we can.
Yeah. Lovely. So today, Vinod bhai, we are seeing a lot of people are opening shops after shops and big chains you are doing, and you are also running a very big, phenomenal business. And you could have also gone that way, opening few 50, 100 showrooms. But instead of that, you decided to make big, lovely showroom the way the jewelry has to be. And each of your showroom is like maybe doing bigger business than 20, 30, 50 of those. So they were both the routes you could have adopted. Why did you go this way rather than going the other way?
If going back, see, I think all of us have a brand language. So the brand language we should not change easily. The brand language of Krishna Chetty has always been luxurious. It's always been classy, understated, yet traditional, and still being able to cater to the now generation. While we do that, we should also ensure progress happens. In a changing world like India, I don't think we can take it for granted. We had a very, very beautiful plan to take this forward in a most luxurious way. It's not the number of stores, but it were iconic stores. Iconic business premises. I wouldn't even say store, because we are more like, we are large boutique.
Right.
Each of our stores are about 25,000 square feet. But each of them are not really commercial stores. They are very well appointed. There's leather, there is lovely decor. The architects have put in a lot of things. Our visual merchandisers are very good. Very small team, but working very passionately. As of now, we are paused that expansion for a certain internal reason where one of our shareholders has a conflict with us, a director and a shareholder. Once that, we sort it out, which I think in about a year or so we'll be able to sort it out, and then I think the road is very good. So, but while these conflicts go on, the business has to go on. We never change the business philosophy, operations, the standards, everything remains.
So whoever has not visited a store, I can vouch for it. It's one of the best showrooms in the country. And it's actually like a showroom where jewelry has to be presented. Everything is so perfect. So whoever has not gone, please go and visit it. Whoever is planning to open new showroom, you must visit a showroom. It's one of the finest showrooms in the country.
But Niravji, I must tell you, today there are many beautiful showrooms in the country. Yeah. When Martin Rappaport came in some time ago, he came in and saw everything, and then he went on tom-tomming in IIJSA here and Las Vegas and in Hong Kong. He said, in India, you should go and see Krishna Chetty.
It is. Even I would say that. If somebody asks me which is the best showroom to go to, the first name that will come to my head is C. Krishna Chetty. It is really finest. I also know that you are a very strict person, and in your company also, everybody is a little afraid when you are there. There's discipline and all. But what we want to know is, who is the real boss at home?
It depends. It depends. I have always been more powerful, but somebody is becoming more powerful than me nowadays.
And who is that?
The same lady.
So one day we would also like to meet her. Like, you should get her to the show.
She's been told by many people that her thoughts are right. So she's becoming more and more bold. It's becoming a problem for me.
So that must be really difficult for you to handle
Yeah,
that. Because you
exactly.
always believe that you are always right.
Yeah.
And then somebody else is
See,
who is more
the
right than
moment
you.
a lot of people tell your wife she's right, and she's right, and she's right, and what I did was wrong
And to
and
somebody
wrong.
like you,
Yeah.
oh, it must be making you really sick.
So
Like, how is that
now
possible?
she keeps telling me, I told you you were wrong.
What is the most unusual request you have received from a customer? And something that is really out of the way that you have done for a customer?
I mean, I have personally not been in sales now for 20 years. But our teams are fabulous, so they've been doing fabulous stuff. I remember one particular product. Um, it is one of the clients that I have attended in the past. That one day he came up and said he opened a bag, a paper bag, and he said he called me at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and to his home office. And I will tell you his name because he's a very famous personality, all of you know. And I admire him very much, and I have a very different take on him as compared to what the world takes on him. It's Vijay Mallya. Now, he came up one day and opened his paper bag and he said, Vinod, I want you to make jewelry out of this. I said, okay, and I looked at it. It was full of blood. There were 10 lion claws that he had killed a lion in Africa in a licensed killing. So he doesn't do anything unauthorized or illegal. So he's a licensed killing of a lion. And he took those nails, those claws, and brought it to Bangalore. And he said, Vinod, I want all of these to be made into jewelry. And I took it back to my workshop and I said, told my people, we want to do this. And a very devout goldsmith who doesn't eat non-vegetarian and all that, he looked at it and he said, what are you giving me? And believe it or not, he made some fabulous pieces of jewelry with that. And he, of course, he cleaned up the blood and he took out the fur and all that. And even the fur was made into something. And finally, when I gave it to Vijay Mallya, and there he gave it as gifts for all his most important guests. And of course, other things that I've made for him have been fabulous. I've made the Pegasus, the UB, United Breweries Pegasus. I don't know how many hundreds of Pegasus set studded with diamonds. And he would always want the authentic Pegasus, the horse, and the wings to flutter. So I had to, craft them in a way that each wing feather would be different and it would shake. So those are things that are very, very unusual requests. And of course, I've sat with his wife in her bedroom to take orders, and it's been a fabulous journey.
Wow, I didn't expect this. Incredible. I'm sure you must be having photographs of these or something that you can maybe share with us.
Yeah, some of them are there.
Because these are something claws and all used for, wow.
And all of them legal.
Yeah.
See, that's the nice thing. When you do it legally,
Yeah.
you don't have to be afraid of anything.
Of course. That's a very important point. So now we'll have some fun. We'll do some rapid fire. So no time to think what comes to your head. If you are not a jeweler, what would you be?
A Uber driver.
Sir?
Uber driver.
No, you joined the business way before that. That time there was no Uber.
Oh, you mean
what
at that time?
At that time, what you would want to do?
I still would have been a fabulous driver.
Yeah. The first piece of jewelry you gifted your wife.
Oh, very little that I gifted to her. But that was a pair of bangles.
You remember it?
Yes.
You still have it? She still has it?
Yes, still. It's a row of diamond bangles.
Okay. Your biggest weakness and your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is perseverance and patience. My biggest weakness is that I can be very demanding.
What is the best compliment you ever received?
Many people say good things, but they don't tell me the truth.
Which one you want to say that it was a good one that made you feel really, or it came from somebody very renowned or some legendary personality and you felt really good about it?
Well, we had a Purohit in interior Karnataka in a temple that they were making, the first large temple. I think they've spent more than 500, 700 crores. And we made the idol for that in real stone, in aventurine quartz. So he said, it's beautiful. Amongst other things, we also made for the tallest home in Bangalore. Very happy. Therefore, those are nice compliments.
We see that you are a very stylish person, always well dressed. Today also, we saw you at the fashion show also. You were the one who brought about the smile on the audience with your goggles and your jingle. Who is your ultimate style inspiration, the style icon?
I don't know. But quite often, I don't look like him, but one of those people are Robert Redford.
Wow, he is really, he looks amazing. And the last one, an item on your bucket list that you are really eager to accomplish.
Build a really wonderful luxury enterprise that will last another 155 years.
Wow. So there, it's Vinod Bhai, the legend, in front of us. It was amazing. It was a pleasure. It was really outstanding talking to you. And the floor is open. We'll take a few questions. So if anybody has any questions for this man, it's your time now. Can somebody give the mic, please?
Hello. Yeah, hi sir. So actually,
Can you introduce yourself?
yeah, so my name is Abhishek Gupta and I run an AI company. So my question to you is like I have been following you for very long now on different social media platform, and I have seen your Chat GPT posts also. Like you have done some good posts on Chat GPT. So as you carry this legacy, how do you see technology impacting your business, and how do you see adopting this? I want your take on that.
For sure, very important aspect of business is the infusion of technology. So much so that you need a a technology transformation expert inside the organization. Nowadays, we are always hunting for people who are who are wonderful minds in transformation. And we are, as of now, everything that we do in the company is oriented into the technological area. For example, you can come into our showroom and you don't need to ask anybody, a human being. You can go to Alexa on our desks and say, hey, Alexa, can you tell me what's the status of my order number 123? And it'll tell you what the status is.
Oh, wow.
If you ask them what is the gold price today, it'll tell you what the gold price is. It'll tell you gold price of 995, 999, 18 karat, 22 karat, and so on. So you've got technology, little children come and play on our technology kiosks. They have some lovely games that they can play. And everything in the company is, even my telephone operators, when the phone rings, they know who the client is. So in various ways, we've infused technology and we still have a lot to go. It's a lot of money, but it's worth it. But don't charge me more if I come to you.
Anybody else? Sumesh, how can have any session end without Sumesh?
How can I miss this opportunity?
Yes. And we also like the questions. They are very probing and nice.
Sumesh can grill me.
Yes, he is really probing.
Brother, what's your favorite luxury brand from India?
I still think Nirav Modi did the best. What happened to him is different, but he was on the right track. That's the most beautiful luxury brand that I have seen.
Not many people had got an experience to experience Nirav Modi because he was just Bombay based. But it need not be from jewelry. Any luxury brand you admire from India?
Well, at one time it was Ritu Berry. She did a good job. Sabyasachi is doing a great job now. So these are good brands. Other than that, in the luxury space, outside of jewelry industry, I think it's some of these speakeasy restaurants. Like in Bangalore, you have that speakeasy, which you cannot, very few people know where it is, but it is, it's such a lovely environment, and it's very private. Nobody knows where it is. You have to go through very difficult entrances to go in. You have an appointment to go in, but inside is marvelous.
How do you feel about the Indian hospitality luxury brand Taj, Oberoi's, and ITC's?
Yeah, I think the Oberoi and the Taj are the ultimate. They have the finest standards, and they seem to be doing it across India, across the world. So that's a phenomenal story, how they do it. In fact, that's a nice thing to go and speak with them, because they come and tell me, for example, some of the general managers and the country heads, I have discussions with them as to what it is, what should we do, and they'll come and tell us how to handle things in the business, and we have to go back and implement it in the company.
Thank you.
We'll take 2 more, then we'll end. We have another session lined up.
Hi, my name is Meet. Compared to the past few generations, now spending is being divided into other segments also. So have you considered retailing other luxury products like accessories or watches or other things to carry on the CKC in the luxury segment? Or just you want to focus on the gem and jewelry segment?
Well, our industry itself is very deep. Now, everything depends on how much space you have. So we cannot clutter our places. The shelf space is important. So as of today, we have a very high-end perfume that we do, Krishna Chetty's rare scents. Each bottle is 10,000 rupees, so it's a very high-end one. Then we have, in no other luxury, we do everything else in gems and jewelry. I think that itself is very deep. Watches, we did look at it, but the watch now needs a separate entity, 5,000 square feet minimum, with all the watch brands. And there's already enough players, so we are not getting into it. I sometimes say stick to the knitting.
One last one.
Sir, hi, good afternoon. I'm Shubham from Bangalore. Sir, as you know, almost all Indian companies are taking the IPO route. So I want to know, when is CKC taking the IPO route? Any plans in the near future?
Keep it private as long as you can.
Thank you.
So here, Vinod Bhai, a very special person. Thank you for being here and enriching and enlightening our audience. It was great to have you, and thank you very much for that.
Nirbhai, we have something simple and very small that we could have.
Please. So a small token, and you said you are a good reader. I love it. I think
I wanted to read this.
With everything that we heard, I think each of us felt very royal. So thank you for this. Let's have this picture moment. We'd like to remind our audience that we're running a little late for our next session. Pioneer of Gold supermarkets in Kerala and over 50 showrooms across India. How have they revolutionized the gold market? This is going to be our next session. It's probably online, so you can stay here. We have our moderator, Mr. Vadera, who's going to take this session forward. So please be in your seats. We have the next session starting shortly. Thank you.